Sandy, I see what you doing. I see what you doing, girl. Sandy Brondillo won CC in Toronto, and I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't be mad at it. I wouldn't be mad at CC going over to Toronto and doing her thing with Sandy Brondillo. We obviously wanted Sandy in Indiana to replace Stephanie White because none of us can trust her or anybody in that entire front office. We wanted her here in Indiana, but ultimately, the Indiana Fever decide to roll with Stephanie White. Sandy Brondillo goes to Toronto, and she has some very, very interesting things to say about Caitlin Clark. We know the secret tunnel conversation they had while she was with the New York Liberty. Caitlin Clark, Sandy Brondillo, Caitlin Clark's agent. Yeah, it could be some things brewing. We got a speech that took place by Caitlin Clark. Bigging up Lisa Bluder. We got a bunch of things to get to. Welcome to Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, hit that bell notification, hype the video. Let's take a look at what one Sandy Brondillo had to say about Caitlin Clark. I think Sandy wants Caitlin to eventually leave Indiana and come to Toronto.
Who's like the hardest to scout against?
Oh, geez, that's a good Asia. I think Asia's really hard to defend. You know, she needs a crowd around her. I think Caitlin Clark is really hard to guard, you know, when she's healthy. Just her ability. She gave us a lot of handful this year, and, you know, she can shoot it from way out, but she's can pass it, and you know, I think she's been a tough one. But yes.
Caitlin Clark, you hear that? Look, tough to guard. She could shoot it from the parking lot. She throw no-look passes from the other state. She can do it all. She can do it all.
You know, she needs a crowd around her. I think Caitlin Clark is really hard to guard, you know, when she's healthy. Just her ability. She gave us a lot of handful this year, and, you know, she can shoot it from way out, but she's can pass it, and you know, I think she's been a tough one. But yes, it's analytically driven and trying to work it out. But sometimes the analytics may say, yeah, go under on her. She's not shooting so well. And like, okay, well,
has the
then
best
she's
game
just
of her life.
Yeah. Sandy was a witness to Caitlin Clark hitting 3 threes in like 28 seconds, like bombs. You know what I'm saying? So Sandy know what time it is. She know what time it is.
She's just made 5, you know, shots by what? No, let's change it. That's when I'm like, you know, I always say analytics, you know, it's great information. It gives you knowledge, but then sometimes you got to see what. Yeah, non-shooter. She can't shoot it, and they make 3 in a row. You're like, okay, let's play a little closer now. Like, come on, like, you know, that's when you think, yeah, you just got. This is what I see. That's why I say I'm human driven and data informed.
See, Sandy Brondillo understands the greatness of Caitlin Clark. She knows that Caitlin Clark is a legitimate game changer. One of the hardest to prepare for in the league, and that's just what it is. Let's take a listen to what some other things Sandy had to say about becoming a coach of the Toronto Tempo, and then we'll get to some things Caitlin Clark had to say.
Because, like, you know, I've always had jobs in the WNBA, but never 3. So that was like, wow, okay, yeah, I could see myself there. Hell, I could see myself there, and they're all different, and that's what made it really hard. And
she's talking about why she chose the Toronto Tempo over Paige Becker's Dallas Wings situation.
But I think the big thing for me is, like, you're just learning from the part. Where do you feel like I'll have the most support and to build something special? And I think that's when it back to us, like partnership. You know, I felt I could have had a great partnership in all 3, to be quite honest. You know, and just that partnership. What's their vision? You know, obviously for the team. You know, the roles and the alignment that we have. I think that was really a big thing. But just, you know, just people. And then city, and then what's the opportunity? What's the challenge that's ahead of me? So I think that all went into it, and it was hard, but I feel really happy with the decision I made.
So, a number of things she had to take into account when ultimately choosing Toronto over Dallas. Obviously, she had to look at the city, the team, and all of that, and then wondering how, you know, we always hear about how poor of an organization Dallas is, how they don't do this, they don't do that. The arena is small. The facilities suck. We heard Satu completely bash the Dallas Wings on her way out while heading to Phoenix. So I didn't really think she would want to take that anyway. So yeah, let's take a look at what some things Caitlin Clark had to say in regards to Lisa Bluder and stuff like that.
I'm Caitlin Clark. and we are here to talk about women that have inspired me to become myself. I feel like my mom has always kind of been my rock. The first person like I called when I got hurt this year was like my mom. I'm like, can you fly here and cook me a meal and like just spend time with me? And that is just the person that makes you feel safe. And I probably took that for granted as a kid, but my mom always made the best meals. I think it's important to take time for yourself. And I think also like when I do have free time, one of my escapes is like cooking a healthy meal for myself, whether that's, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Like I really do enjoy that. Just putting on music and making a home cooked meal. And I think that's because it feels like a safe place for myself because that's kind of what I grew up on. Coach Bluder has had a great impact on my life. We've been able to stay in close contact over the course of my career now. Obviously, I've been away for 2 years and she has now since retired. But I think like one thing that was probably super impactful on myself and all of my teammates is we always had like a breast cancer game or a cancer game, and she would always bring in cancer survivors that got to kind of tell their story, but also like, the impact our team had on people and how much joy we could bring to them because those people were huge Iowa women's basketball fans, and them getting to spend a day with us like meant the world to them. So I think it put like great perspective, not only on, basketball, but like what we get to do for other people. I think
Lisa Bluder, man, I really wish you wanted to still coach. The dream scenario would have been Lisa Bluder in Indiana. Can you imagine if she would have came to Indiana with Caitlin Clark? We wouldn't have to deal with none of this nonsense we see going on with this organization, us feeling like we can't trust Stephanie White. A lot of problems would not exist if Mama Bluder was there. And because she's not, we are just stuck. We're stuck in a tough situation where we have to try to deal with Amber Cox, Kelly Krauskopf, and Stephanie White. I think it's very, very sad, man. I wish we could get Mama Bluder to come out of retirement.
Partnership with Lily, I think, more than anything, first of all, they care about women's sports, which is incredibly important to me. And now getting to play in Indianapolis and them being based here, it feels like a pretty natural partnership. On our jerseys, we wear the Lily patch, so I feel pretty lucky and fortunate to be able to work with them. Maya Moore was definitely my favorite basketball player growing up, male or female. Getting to meet her and watch her play in a game for the first time is probably one of the greatest memories of my childhood, truly. And when Maya Moore did come and watch me at Iowa, it was a surprise. She was sitting courtside, and just to have somebody you grew up wanting to be like, take time out of their day to come and support you. And she was inducted to the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, and like the way she talked about like team culture and how much that meant to her, and being a team player and how impactful that can be on your life is so true. And being on teams that have been really good, like how true that is and how much that meant to her. And throughout the course of her career, like it's just an easy person to be able to cheer for.
See, I think that's part of the reason why it's so easy for all these other players to just kind of like disrespect the WNBA and go about it in a certain type of way. I think that's why it's so hard for Caitlin Clark, because she actually grew up a fan of women's basketball players. There's a lot of players in the WNBA who didn't watch WNBA. They watched NBA, and they openly say it. So she has a deeper passion for the actual league because it was always her dream to get there, and she looked up to Maya Moore and the players in the actual WNBA. So this is all interesting stuff, man. Get down in the comments. Let me know what you think about this. Keep the vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe.